What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
We're back with another episode of RESILIENTLOVE. Do you know what that means? We got resilient love. Resilient love. Resilient love. Resilient love.
Hey, everybody, it's Resilient Love Podcast.
Yay! It's your host, Brianna.
And your host, Quentin.
And we are so glad to be with you guys on today.
Right.
So if you're listening or watching, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe.
Make sure you subscribe.
And leave us a 5-star review. Okay? Because we love to bring resilient love to you. All right. So we're going to start our episode off with a quote of the day. So what's the quote of the day?
So the quote of the day is, the real act of marriage takes place in the heart, not in the ballroom or church or synagogue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice you make not just on your wedding day, but over and over again. That is actually by Barbara the Angelis.
Yes. So it's something you do over and over again. It was all in my head. Y'all know that? Y'all remember that song, right?
We always got a song or a movie clip. It's always something.
I mean, at this point, I should just name that tune. That should be a thing.
Yeah, we might do that.
Name that tune. But the quote of the day, like Quentin just read, in order for us to actually have the real act of marriage, it starts in the heart. And so we want to get to the heart of the matter. We want to get to the root. And that is the fruit of God, which is love. You know, we want to be able to show, express, and walk in love. Okay. That is one of the greatest commandments. Right. To love thy neighbor as Christ loves himself and loves the church, you know, and so that's what we want to do and show that love.
And we chose that quote specifically because a lot of times, oftentimes, we think of marriage as just the big wedding day, all the fluffy stuff that make you feel good. Mm-hmm. But we don't tend to really think about the real work it takes.
Yeah, I think if you guys get the book by Melissa and Kevin Frederick's Marriage Be Hard, we're going to plug that down in the description below. But Marriage Be Hard is a great book just to express their story of their journey as teenagers to now adulthood and parenthood, and of course as business partners. And that is something that Quentin and I desire, is to move from, we are obviously at our marriage stage, but we are seeking to be parents, and we do work together in business. So, their story really was an encouragement and gave us some insight on how marriage can be hard. And I think we don't want anybody to take this comment like, what they call it, a prison sentence or something of that nature.
Prison sentence, indictment, everything that got everything wrong to do about the court system.
Right. We don't want you to think of marriage like that, but we do want you to understand the quote that it's something that you choose to do every day. You walk in love every day. You address those issues every day. And that's not necessarily an issue every day, but you address it when it comes and you grow from it. And that's really what we...
Right. I'm seriously, I'm thinking about it. I have a random thought. So I literally thought about how people, especially in our culture, especially older people, will throw the side-eye jokes like, "You about to be locked down. You about to be..." Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about the ring. This is not a handcuff.
All right.
This is the evolving.
Yes. This is the circle of life right here. This is a eternal connection, knowing that it's not easily broken, right? The Bible tells us that a 3-stranded cord is not easily broken. And in order for us to have that third strand, it comes with Christ. And so we want to make sure that you guys understand the importance of having a Christ-centered marriage. You know, you may see others have success, but with Christ, you will grow and excel even the more in your marriage. I believe that. I know that. And I'm going to stand on that 10 toes down.
And just remember that in that point, you know, the word success in everyone's marriage, household, or individual life looks different.
Yes.
Per household.
Yep. It kind of reminds me of the sermon that we watched, or more so like an open dialogue with T.D. Jakes and First Lady Sarita, how they were talking about winning at home.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Winning at Home, I really recommend it.
Yeah.
It's an eye-opener. Especially, I don't want to especially the men. Really. Because a lot of times, and I can speak from this, like we get focused on finances and like making sure the house good. Like, how can I figure out extra income that we literally forget to win at home? Like, it's what do you do when the money dry up?
Come on.
What sustains you? And it has to be more than money. You can always get more money. You can't get more time. That's
true. That's true. And that's something that we want to also make a point. Again, we just basing this off of the quote. That quote is so powerful to remind us that the act of marriage, as in that means you're doing something, right? You're not just sitting in the marriage, you're working in the marriage, you're engaged, right? And in order for you to really be engaged with something, you have to put your hands to the plow. You have to really get in there, right? Get your head in the game. You know, we are sports fans, go Buffs. So I feel like when it comes to your marriage, you have to have that same cheerleader spirit. You have to have that go team go. You have to have that, let's strategize, just like a coach would do with his team. Yeah. There are moments where you're going, go, go, go. And there's moments where you're saying, stop, stop, stop. Let's re-strategize what we are doing because that play is not working. That the way we were doing it before is not working. Quentin and I have been married 4 years. We got married July 6, 2019. And we have been married for 4 years. And, even in the 4-year process, what worked in year 1 has shifted now that we're in year 4. And so we're just going to be sharing a little bit of that, in today's episode, because we want you to know that marriage and maturity goes together.
Right.
Marriage and maturity goes together.
And even as you say that, as we jump in, the one thing I want to say, because I have to use the sports analogy, one question is, how bad do you want it? Do you want to win?
Right.
Or do you want to just go home?
Yep.
So the other thing about it is, like, when we talk about seasons, we all know seasons in life in general, but especially seasons in marriage. And the one thing I want to say is your marriage playbook doesn't have the same play every season the same. Like every season has a new play.
Yeah. You
can't, you have to switch up the routine. You got to switch up. Some things that worked last season ain't gonna work this season. It just ain't. When we had COVID, early on, like the pandemic beginning, it was stay at home, Netflix, and that ain't working this season.
There you go.
We're going out.
Yeah, it's totally different. And I know I got ahead of myself, so I'm sorry for my listeners and my viewers. Let me back up for a second. Some of y'all may not know us, and so just to piggyback off of the first point, as I mentioned, we got married July 6, 2019. Quentin and I are actually high school sweethearts. We met in middle school, but we did not actually date until high school. We dated one 1 year in high school. And after graduation, I went off to college at North Carolina Central University, Eagle Pride Amplify, and Quentin went straight into the workforce. And so once I was getting towards the end of school, around 2014, July 2014.
Was it junior year or senior?
It was going into my senior year, of college. Quentin and I reconnected on an app called Glide. Right. And in us reconnecting on Glide, we began to grow and just reconnect, like just get back to know each other, because things change after you graduate high school.
And for those that don't know Glide was basically FaceTime Dinosaur Edition. So you know how we do FaceTime now, where it's like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What's up? How you doing?
Yeah. So
there's no one talking back to you on Glide.
No, it's just videos.
And you have to wait for the message to come back.
Yeah. So it was like 30 1-minute videos.
Yeah.
1-minute videos and little voice messages and texts. So before we exchanged numbers, we just connected on Glide. And it was at one pivotal point. It was me. I did it. I said, listen, I am tired of waiting on your messages. Here's my number. So I put the ball back in his court. And he texted me, honey. And
so and the reason that happened was because evidently I'm not fast enough on the text.
Texting, yes.
Yeah.
So I had to jump in and go ahead and shift gears from that. But nonetheless, and we began to converse and reconnect and things of that nature. And so fast forward, we call ourselves boyfriend and girlfriend in 2016. And then in 2019, he proposed to me in February 17th, 2019. And then 4 months later, we got married July 6th. So that's just a short background on Quentin and I. For those that did not know, and if you already knew that, kudos to you, because that means you've been rocking with us since we started the podcast. Yeah. Because at the time of this recording that you're listening to, it is our 4-year podcast anniversary. Yes. So we have been podcasting since 2019. October 5th, 2019 was our very first episode. And we were just talking about the basics of getting married. Yeah, we were just trying to share.
Because we got married in 4 months. So that was like, without it being something wrong.
Yes.
Most people either think something wrong.
Well, there's a catch. No.
Baby, no catch.
No, just God and his timing. So
we just didn't want to wait a year.
Yeah, and we just went forward and God has been good. And so we are now here 4 years later to bring you a topic of marriage and maturity. Some of the life updates that we wanted to share is that in the 4-year process, I am now a high school teacher. I have been teaching for the past 3 years in high school, and I am also now pursuing my master's degree at in the field of instructional technology. So I will complete this program next year, 2024. So that's an update for me.
And an update for me is I became an insurance agent. Woo! So don't say woo yet, because it's challenging.
Woo!
Yeah, today was woo.
Right.
There's some days I'm like, just this, and there's other days I'm like,
woo. Like, you guys can say that. There are some days you might love your job, but there are just some days where you just your woo turns into woo.
Pray for me.
Yeah.
Because I my professional clock be switching to my ratchet clock. Want to. I just But
that is too funny.
I'm
Professional
learning.
clock, the ratchet clock.
I'm learning.
So listen, we're going to jump right in. Like we said, today's topic is on marriage and maturity. So Q, I want you to share with the people just some media aspects when it comes to like media couples and what we've seen, what's the topics that's out there relating to marriage?
Honestly, a lot of divorce, and the one word that comes to mind is the famous word irreconcilable differences.
Okay.
And that's a whole nother topic for another day, but I just want to throw that out there. But some of the names that come to mind was like this past year or so, it's been like some heavy names like Bill and Melinda Gates. Goodness. Recently, what is their name? The actor and then the producer. She's an actor. He's a producer, Christian preacher guy.
You got me. But
Megan Good.
Yes. And Devon Franklin.
Yes.
And also Tia Mowry.
Yeah. That was
and her husband.
Yeah.
Then even more recent, you got Jenny
and Jeezy.
And of course we could go down another list, but our point of even acknowledging that is to say, we see these individuals as influencers, right? Mm-hmm. That's the title that we say, they're influencer. They're someone who does various brand deals and things of that nature, and they have just built their name in the entertainment industry. However, even with that, you have to also acknowledge that you yourself, the one that's listening and watching, you are an influencer. You have a range of influence in your area of expertise, in your friend circle, in your family. You are an influencer as well. However, the names that we mentioned have a wider, more nationally known, if you will, influence. And so we bring them up to say a lot of people that we have spoken to and just had various online, offline conversations with, they reference these same names to say, is it worth it? They reference these same names to say, well, I can do bad
by myself.
And we want to really be honest and say, for some people, singleness is your ministry. I know people don't like to say that word, that ministry word get thrown around, but that will be what God will want you to do. Like, he may not want you to necessarily be married. He may want you to be a single person operating in a particular area. For others, it may be married, and for another category, it could be married at one point, but not. So we also understand that even if you fall in that last category, we have to be mindful of our choices. And Quinn and I are not going to go into that too deep, but when you make a choice to marry someone, you have to be very prayerful of that decision. Sometimes we go into things without full confidence and full understanding of what we're getting ready to go into. Proper counseling, things of that nature.
And full disclosure. I think one of the things that was shared, with the Jenny Ma and the Jeezy thing was about the differences with family culture.
Yes.
And we've had that too, honestly. There were certain things Bree won't use, there were certain things I won't use to. And you got to learn how to make that work. And you have to figure out if that's a deal breaker before
you say I do. You might want to go back and check the episode, because we hit some of these points previously, but today we want to dig a little deeper and talk about, and we're going to be kind of looking down a little bit because we got some notes together. But again, marriage and maturity, the importance of that. And the very first key point we want to hit is communication is critical. A successful marriage requires open and honest communication. It's essential to actively listen to your partner's needs, concerns, and desires. Effective communication can help resolve conflicts and strengthen your bond. You know, Quentin and I wrote a book called Confront the Conflict and Settle the Matter. We will be doing a workshop around this topic later on this year, 2023. But in that, you know, we ourselves understood early in our marriage that it's important to be clear and concise on what you want and what you desire to have
and what you don't want.
And I think that when we hit that crossroad, it was a funny point because I can just share this. Q was, I think, getting off work or something, and he hadn't gotten home, and I was just calling him, and I said, "Hey, Q, where are you?" He said, "Why?" I said, I thought that you would be home, you know, so I just wanted to kind of check in and see where you're at, you know. And he said, "I'll be home shortly." And at that point, I hung up the phone. And
she was upset.
I realized at that point, I hadn't communicated clearly, and neither did he.
Well, first she got upset. Then she had a revelation. So,
I got upset, and then I had the revelation. But when he got home, we had a conversation. You see what I'm saying? I got upset. I had a revelation. Then I had a conversation. That might be a word for somebody. You might get upset, but take that upset feeling and gain something from it, and then effectively communicate what you can do better. And so in that moment, right, Quentin shared, like, in a previous time or a previous setting, you know, that was not the 411. That was not the way I would flow in a typical situation.
That hadn't been my lifestyle. People,
right.
Like, I be where I be, and I'm at where I'm at. And I'll be back when I be back.
Yeah, that was his flow, and I said no. So we began to really rebuild that area for him, right? Because that was not something he was used to. I grew up in an environment where checking in was essential. Checking in was routine. Let me say it that way.
And let me just say this. Sometimes everybody, you know, checking in is cool, but sometimes just let the person know you need to check out. Like, for real. Like, this is not a topic. Everybody, the check in, make sure you check in. You married now. No, well, sometimes you gotta check out. Like, Bree, look, I don't mean to be funny, but today I just need some time to myself.
Right.
And that's okay. Like, I think that's also a piece of the healthy heartbeat of a marriage, is still having some individuality while still being one. Like, what do you like to do? Don't just say yes because she say yes, or say yes because he says yes. Or what, you know, figure out, what do you like to do? When do you need time? When is a good time? And then bring that together. Yes. So don't lose yourself in the I do. Yeah. You deny everything of yourself, and like, you don't even know yourself at the end of the day. You like, well, who am I? You know, as we're sharing, what's coming to my mind also from a teacher perspective is a method that we use when we're lesson planning. I do, you do, we do. You know, there's a point where the teacher is working with the students. That's what we do. You know, this is a category for you. That's what you do. And as the teacher, here's something that I do. And so I think that
Understanding your role, understanding when it's a time for us and a time for me.
Right.
A time for me and a time for we. That's a word too. A time for me, a time for we. Okay. So that was good. That was point 1. Point 2.
Point 2. Embracing compromise. This one. Excuse me, y'all. This one. This was like the hardest part. So marriage often involves compromise. Learning to find common ground and make mutually beneficial decisions is crucial. It's important to remember that marriage is not about always getting your way, but finding a balance that works for both partners.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many instances where we had to learn compromise in this 4 years. But I think, honestly, here's what sped and it's just our personal, and we'll dig further in, what sped our compromise up was COVID. I think I stayed home. Bree got sick, had to go to the hospital, and like nothing mattered at that point no more. Like, I don't care if you do that little thing I just don't like. Like, did you squeeze the toothpaste? Did you tighten the cap? Like, little stuff don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what elevated us and matured us, because in that moment, we really realized life is but a vapor.
Mm-hmm.
And like the little stuff you actually begin to miss.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh my God, I am so alone. That's the funny thing about marriage. You get so used to someone when they're not there, especially with a situation that was so crucial,
mm-hmm.
revolving health and me not being able to be present.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough, but that's what matured us. And the fact that I couldn't be present, I literally had to lean on my faith, not my own strength.
Yes.
And I couldn't do nothing. It felt kind of a little helpless. Like,
yeah,
in the hospital, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting check-in calls.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, so compromise, I matured through the marriage as an individual and as a husband, becoming one with my wife by listening, examining, and doing better.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a good communicator. And I was probably a good communicator, maybe like in the business sense or in a meeting. I can do that. But when it came to like this, it was a little challenging. And one thing about it makes you realize a lot of things about your childhood.
Mm.
So
yes.
You're actually having to backtrack to figure out why you do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to compromise
with your own self.
Yeah, with your own thinking.
Yeah, you got to like settle the matter within you.
And and some things with you. I mean, you could share some things with you. You had to, I never did it like that, or I never thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, upbringing plays a role in your thinking, right? Based upon whatever the house rules were, whatever the routines were at that time, it really helps to shape you. Again, I'm going to give you guys some of the aspects as a teacher, because I have worked in child development literally from birth to kindergarten, and I jumped up to 9th grade to 12th grade. So I do have a lot of aspects when it comes to the psychological processing when it comes to the development of a child. And I feel like, just to throw this tidbit in there, when you are forming as a child, as a youth, not only your family dynamics, but even your school dynamics, if you were active in the community, your neighborhood, a lot of those things began to formulate your world, your orbit, right? I was revolving around me and my family. Then all of a sudden, I added this person into my sphere. And so they themselves bring a force of gravity that I wasn't used to. You know, Neo said in his song, I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. And so having him a part of my world, you know, wish I could be, you know, Little Mermaid. When he became part of my world, you know, that began to shift some things, some aspects of how I thought, how I approached things, and vice versa. You know, I began to shift some stuff about him. And so I think that the very beneficial thing to a partnership is understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each other, right? Because we're talking about compromise. And so recognizing that Quentin is stronger in the organization aspect, right? When it comes to certain things in the home, he's really good at, you know, compartmentalizing and putting things here, there, everywhere. You know, whereas for me, when it comes to organizing in the business sense, he's like, yeah, Brianna, you're really good at, you know, the social media, the emails, the publications, etc. So, you know, we kind of do the checks and balances of how things flow, you know, and so that's something that we learn even with that.
Yeah. Yeah, compromise. It's a door that never stops swinging.
Mm-hmm.
It's a door that you constantly have to walk through and realize that you, even when you think you know, you don't.
I know.
So you just have to go with it, learn. Like, you know, one of my favorite quotes by one of my uncles in Philly is, you don't go through life, you grow through life. And a lot of us are trying to go through life so fast, and, you know, we're influenced by social media. And especially when it comes to like relationships as well. Like, we look at people on social media like, I wish my marriage was like that. I wish me and my babe went on trips and did this. I want that Margie and Steve. And I'm like, hey, you don't know what they got going on behind closed doors. So you don't know the struggle. You don't know the compromise, the sacrifice. Like, you don't know. You just see one aspect.
Yeah.
So,
and that one aspect goes into our third point, which is about growing together. You know, even in everything that we've shared, you know, you have to grow together. Marriage is a journey of growth, both individually and as a couple. It's essential to support each other's personal development and encourage one another to pursue new interests and goals. By growing together, you create a stronger partnership. So not only is Quentin my husband, but he's my best friend. And so really just encouraging him to step out and do certain things, it has really helped not only build him up, but build me up too, because, you know, when he wins, I win. And when we began to look at our marriage as a partnership of, I bring 100, he brings 100, you know, we were taught 50-50, you know, as long as he brings 50 and I bring 50, we good. No, baby, you partially there. You half baked. You need to be completely baked fully through. When I put the fork in there, it's done.
And you definitely got to be at 100 for the simple fact that this is probably a less thought of concept, but if you're always at 100, or at least striving, you close, you know. As we're at work, we get tested all the time, observed, examined, QAs and all of this other type stuff. So and there's a minimum quota that they're looking for. You know, usually it's 80 or better. And, you know, you should always be at 100 or really close to 100, because you never know when the other person may be at 30.
Right.
And that's both, it's not just finances, because a lot of people automatically, when they hear that, they think about just finance. It's not just finances. It's emotional. It's like
It's the full package.
It's the full package.
Yeah, because you know, Quentin could have a great day in the category of personal,
Yeah.
but then at work is a little low.
Yeah.
So really being able to encourage, you know, don't worry about what's going on the job. You got this, you know, etc. And vice versa. You know, there have been times where Quentin had to really, come on, Bree, you got this. And so that's where I go back to that first point about there are seasons where you are just cheering, go. And there are seasons where you're like, stop, let's rethink this whole thing.
Right.
And so that's how you really grow together, you know, understanding the season, the time. That's in the Bible, right? Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time and place for everything under the heavens. So really understanding the times and seasons that you and your spouse are with is what really going to help you grow together, right? Flowers are planted in one season, but they bloom in another. So understand that you are planting seeds with your spouse in one season, and you're going to see them grow in another. Okay. Mm-hmm. You may not see them improve in category A right now, but keep working on it. Keep tilling the land, and category A will grow. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say it like Prime. That was good. Yeah. That was good right there. So we talked about growing together. Communication is crucial, embracing compromise. And now we're talking about respecting differences.
Yeah, this is going to be probably the last point we'll make for this episode. And respecting differences. Yeah, I got tired when I heard it. But because it's a challenge, you know. That's again, this ties in with compromise again. So respecting differences. Each person in a marriage brings their own unique qualities, perspectives, and backgrounds. It's important to respect and appreciate these differences as they can enrich your relationship. Embracing diversity strengthens the bond between partners.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
Yes. And Quentin is a night owl.
I'm growing.
He's growing, right? But respecting the difference in that Brianna's best output is in the AM. You know, if you want to get my best work, I can work at night, but is it my best work?
Ain't her best work. Yeah. I've seen it. And I ain't shading them, but she know I'll be like, I'm gonna catch you in. Let me get on your books for the morning slot.
He love to say that line. So, you know, as we work through different business ideas and brainstorming, you know, Quentin wants to brainstorm at like 11 p.m. And I'm like, Quentin, you know, I'm gonna give you what I can, but catch me at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I'm gonna give you that. Coach Prime. I love Coach Prime. Shout out to Coach Prime. But anyway, that's me. That's me being honest. Mm-hmm. My best output is in the morning. Okay, maybe that's because of my teacher schedule. I don't know. But I do better in the morning. Whereas Quentin, he flows at night.
Yeah.
So that's respecting differences, right?
Respecting differences also is like, one thing particular is like me, I am now Bree, she's a deal shopper, but I am like, I'm gonna just say, I'm cheap.
But Quentin does really well with like he said, he will find a deal. It's like, how did you this was $2? How?
But that's how, and here again, it goes to background.
Brianna be like, full price.
Just get it and come on.
Yes, come on.
And I'm like, no.
God, check out. Let's check out.
And so it's more of and I get it now more.
Yeah.
It's more of a time conscience for her versus me. I want the best price.
Yeah, so he's a hold them and fold them. I'm like, put them all in, baby.
Yeah. So that was something we both we had to learn. We still sometimes have to compromise. Like, all right now.
Yeah, true that. So this was a good part one. I hope you guys enjoyed our 4th podcast anniversary episode. Make sure you tune in every Thursday, your time, our time, anytime, but it's gonna be Thursday. And well, we Eastern Standard Time, but nonetheless, for now. So anyway, join us on Resilient Love Podcast on Thursdays, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.